Hey everybody, we are waiting for our raid and we'll be getting started in just a moment. Welcome in. Hello, Rusty and Celery and Sundance. We're on Art Hangout tonight and we're going to be getting started any minute. Waiting for Heidi to wrap up and send everybody over. How's everybody doing this evening? Hey Jolene, welcome in. We are waiting for our raid from Heidi, and as soon as she sends everybody over, we'll be getting started. Hello everyone, welcome in. Hey Michelle, how are ya? All right, I think they're coming. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Hi. Hello. Hi, y'all. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Art Hangout. I'm Vanessa Gale with Collection Cousins, and I am your caboose. Caboose boost. Welcome in, Michelle. Amanda, Barbara, welcome in. Hey, Rabbit Queen. Good to see ya. Rusty, come on in. Elaine, welcome. Thank you, Bandit. I appreciate that. I'll show those again in just a moment. All right, y'all, real quick again. I've got hair everywhere, y'all. I'm Vanessa Gale with Collecting Cousins. So glad to see y'all. I am your caboose tonight. Usually I'm on earlier, but it just worked out this week that I am your caboose. Next week I'll be your kickoff. So anyway, all right. Heidi, that was so fun. I just loved the little devil, and you are on the right track, and I think you are going to figure it out. You will figure it out. I have all confidence. All right, I'm going to turn you around, so let's flip a do. There are the roses that Bandit was referring to. Before I start anything new tonight, the last time we were together, we worked on this tree. So I'm going to pull this to the side, and then I've also noticed I need to adjust my phone and my holder just a bit because I've got a little bit of that showing. So I know Christmas is over, but again, the last time we were together, we resined this tree. And if you didn't watch that one, it was kind of a messy experience pouring the resin on a form that stands up. And so I just wanted to share it with you now that everything is hardened on it and let you kind of see. It has spent the last few weeks sitting on my mantle with a few others. You're right. It's never really completely over, but I'm pleased with how this one turned out. And again, we resined it because we originally hot glued everything. And so I can hold it and toss it around, and it feels, you can hear my nails kind of clicking on it, my ring. And it is pretty sturdy. Everything is on there. It's not going to fall off unless there's a piece that's I missed with the resin, and I let you see up kind of close there. It's got a little glitter on there because we kind of sprinkled some glitter. So anyway, that is the tree that we worked on last time, and that one is not listed, but there is one listed out there. Not in my thing tonight, but it is out there in my shop if you like those. But they're a little spendy because they are a lot of jewelry, and also the shipping is kind of a lot because they're heavy. I haven't weighed that one yet, but the one in there weighs like 5 pounds, just the tree itself. So we're going to do a couple things. I wanted to do something with paper because that was our challenge for tonight. And so we're just going to do a really quick little thing with paper, but I make artist trading cards. I got this idea from Amanda with Candyland. And I have a few left over from Christmas, which we're not going to do anything with, but I wanted you to see a completed one to know kind of what I am doing here. So I name the series and I date them and number them and sign them. And so I'm getting ready to do my series for January, which is going to be Valentine's Day based. So I have already prepped my cards, and this time you'll notice I have used a white tissue paper. These use a gold tissue paper. I've used different colors of tissue paper, but these are blank trading cards that I get online. So they're just like a regular playing card, not trading card, playing card. And they have kind of a slick finish, and actually doing art on them without having some kind of coating on them is sort of difficult. The paints don't really want to stick very well. So what I always do is I cover them with some type of tissue paper, and I've elected to do white. And I just want to show you real quick that process and kind of tell you a little bit about what the series is going to be. And then we're going to make jewelry. We're going to make some earrings. So in order to cover these, I've just found that a little Mod Podge on the face of the card, just a thin coat of that. Make sure you get all the edges really good. And I just use a regular paintbrush. Then I kind of turn around, and then we just are going to stick that paper on there, and then I'll show you how I finish the back. So again, I cut the squares so that they lap over the edges just a bit, and you get that tissue paper on there, and I try to sort of start from the center, and tissue paper is very delicate, so I don't push really hard or pull really hard, and I don't really stress about little wrinkles in here either, because that gives it texture. And so I just like to press that paper down, make sure it's sticking along the edges. Then I flip it over. Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate everybody for coming in tonight. So I trim the corners off diagonally like this. And then I'm going to put a little Mod Podge around the sides just to fold back. If you have any of these, I know some of you have bought these from me for different seasons that I've done, and the backs are not pretty. I don't stress too much about the back. So again, I'm just putting a little bit of Mod Podge along that edge and then along the top part, and then we just fold that over and smooth it out. And then I'll let these dry. I kind of thought about working on these tonight, but they're not quite dry enough just yet to do that. So I'll be working on these some this week and have these ready to auction off for next week. I will be on next Thursday as well. So glad you could join us for our hangout. I am the Caboose. We've had a great day. Michelle kicked us off earlier, and she made some jewelry. If you didn't see Michelle, she took a pair of earrings that had seen better days. The beads were absolutely gorgeous, but the findings were kind of corroded with the verdigris on them. And so what she did was she took the beads from that pair of earrings and she reconstructed them, gave them new findings, new ear wires, and put new life back into a beautiful pair of ceramic floral beads. They were gorgeous, Michelle. Do I turn any of my trading cards into magnets? I have not done that. I guess, you could probably put a magnet on the back of that. I could do that. What I do is, I send these little plastic stands so that they could, sort of stand up, and you could use them in decor, but, I hadn't thought really about doing magnets, so I'll have to try that. So I'm planning to do, this is going to be my love series, and my notes, I think I'm going to do one that says love stinks. Love is patient, one that is love is kind, one that just says love me, one that says all we need is love, and then one that says love your neighbor. So these are going to be kind of a love theme for these, and so those will be coming. Stay tuned for that. All right, let's make some earrings, shall we? I've got some beads, and I'm kind of going with the whole Valentine's Day kind of theme with what I'm going to be making tonight, and I have an idea for what I want to start with, but I haven't really put any of them together. So these are the beads that I pulled, maybe in one of those hard plastic sleeves. Yes, you're exactly right, because I didn't mention that, Silver. I do let's see, I can't really get to them, but like you put the sports trading cards in those clear plastic sleeves, I do put them inside one of those too, so I could always stick a magnet on the back of that. Absolutely, that would work. Which song is stuck in your head, Rusty? All we need is love. Or love steaks. I already know, love steaks. So I'm going to lower you guys down just a little bit here. So I've pulled some beads that are pinks and blacks. I love pink and black together. And I've got some pearl and some crystal. And I've got some of my little findings. I also have some little charms that I made with air dry clay. And I've got all this fun stuff over here. So I really like pink and like a leopard print. And so that's my inspiration for the first pair I think we're going to try. And I kind of like these are ceramic beads, and I'm not sure where I got these. I think they came off of a necklace. I harvest a lot of beads from jewelry, so I'm going to grab a couple of those. And I do have these, I think these are like leopard jasper. So you see they're kind of a leopard print look. So I'm going to grab a couple of those that I want to put on there as an accent. And really, I would kind of like to do more of these. I may put a few more out here. We'll see what we've got. And then I've got these black beads that are, I don't know if they're glass or if they're onyx. They kind of look and feel like real stone, and they're sort of the shape like you get real stone beads. But I don't know. I have not tested these. I'm not sure what they are. So I'm going to throw a few of those in there. We might use those. And then I've got some pearls, but I don't think those are going to be right for these. So we might save those for another pair. Let's just work on these for a minute, and then we'll move on to something else. So I've got a couple different types of pin heads here. We've got the ones that are called the eye pins that have the little loops on the end. You can see those. And then I have just the nail head that are just flat on the ends, like that, if you can see that. Welcome in, Carolina Cottontail. We are about to make some earrings, kind of thinking towards Valentine's Day here. So I like to kind of play and see how things work and fit. And I'm afraid these are going to be, yes. So this is not going to work on this type of pin because that pin head is going to come right through that bead. So we can solve that problem in a couple of ways. We can use one of these with a loop on the end, which I feel like if there's a loop on the end, you need something dangling off the end, but that will hold it on. See, it will not go over that loop on the bottom. Or we could use a smaller bead at the base of this bead that has a smaller hole to hold it on. But I really wasn't planning to do that, but we could. Something like that. So, let me just kind of fiddle around here. We're going to fiddle with it. Over here in the South, we fiddle with things. We fiddle with them. We get our panties in a wad, all that fun stuff. And I'm not, yeah, small dark bead first. Yeah, exactly. I'm fixing to. Yep, that's what yep. You got it, Amanda. We are fixing to do lots of things. So, all right. I'm not loving this. So, here. Okay, I have another idea. Let me show what this other pair of earrings. Let me grab these. So, one of the other pairs that I made recently, I used these leopard jasper, and I did these little dangles off the end. You see how I dangled those little leopard jasper? And I really like how that looks. So I think that's what these are going to take a little bit more time today to make, but I think that's what we're going to do. I think I'm going to make some of these little dangles. We'll put the pink bead on there. We'll put a black bead, and then we'll put another one of these at the top just so that we're repeating. And I think that's going to be my design. Your best friend college was from Memphis. Yes. Memphis. A bead cap. Yeah. A bead cap would work. There's lots of different things that you can do. So if we're going to use some of these little leopard jasper ones, and I'm going to need to put them on smaller pins. And so let me grab, these are very long. If you can see how long those are. Welcome in, Michelle. I like the dangles too. So I'm going to rattle around in my plastic bag here for a second. Y'all forgive me. Let's see. There's what I need. Okay. So I've got these two different lengths of these flathead little pins. So I'm going to use the smaller ones because we're going to be cutting. So I'm going to get out several of those, probably. All right. And I'm going to load one at a time on here because I like them individually. So that's going to mean we have to wrap each individual bead, but that's okay. We'll do it. And y'all, I got this new tool. Y'all, I don't know if you've seen these jewelry makers out there. Have y'all tried these yet? Like, I kind of practiced with this the other day just to make sure it was going to work, but I haven't used it but a couple times, so I'm going to try this. So in theory, you're supposed to be able to put your little thing in there and pull it right up to the end, and it makes the little loop for you. Oh my gosh, look at that. All right, look. Look, 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 look. Look, look, look. It did it. Yay. Now, it looks like it might need to be tightened just a tiny. Well, actually, yeah, it needs to be tightened just a little bit. So I'm going to put my pliers in there and just kind of pull it around just a tiny bit, just to make sure it's cinched. So that just made that process so much easier, because in the past, what I've been doing is wrapping those. And when I'll show you the wrapping process later, but since that made that a little bit faster, we're just going to do these this way. So you just load your bead on that little nail pen. So this has got several different moving parts here. And so you slide that pin in and get it right across the top and slide it right up flush to where the bead is. And then you just grip it, and y'all watch this work. You see that? And it cuts the wire for you and everything all in one step. And then you've got your little dangle. Okay. And then I'm going to use oh, you know what? That didn't work out right. Let me show you that. So you see that really didn't work because that is not a complete loop. And it's too short to pull it, to roll it over. So I'm going to cut that little loop part off, and we're going to reclaim that bead. If we can get it off that pin there. You'll use the tools this way. There we go. So I took that pin out of there. Let's try that one more time, and hopefully it'll work right this time. Maybe it was user error. I was trying to show you guys how it worked, and I don't know, maybe I messed up. So we just load that in. It comes out this other side, and this is supposed to wrap around, and it didn't cut that time. So new things are great when they work, right? Why did it not cut? I don't know why. Maybe I've got it turned the wrong way. Okay. Now I can't get it off. There we go. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. Can we save this one? So it wrapped it, but it didn't cut it. So maybe you don't. Exactly. Maybe you don't. I bought a cheap one. It came from a large retailer who is it rhymes with a flightless bird. I'll just say that. So that's where it came from. So it could be the tool, it could be user error, but I was able to salvage that one. So I think we're good on that. What is that shadow from is what I want to know. All right, so we've got a couple of those. So we're going to try it one more time. Hopefully it'll work. And they make them, this one says it's a 1.5 millimeter. So I guess that's the size of the loop that it makes. So you can get them in different sizes, which kind of threw me for a loop. Because I was like, how in the world? All right, so I'm just going to hold that, and we're going to hold our breath. Again, I want you to kind of see if you can here. Like, cut it that time, so it worked. Something I didn't do right the first time, obviously. And then we kind of take it off. Got to kind of, there we go. All right, and check it. We need to tighten it just a tiny bit. And again, the thing you want to remember about these is you do need to make sure that loop is closed so that it is not going to fall off of whatever you attach it to later. So, all right. I think that's good. All right, so we've got 3 done. I want to do 3 more of these because I want 3 on each side, just because I like odd numbers. That's kind of an art thing. Looking for the hole. Where is y'all, my eyes? I think this one may be defective. I don't see a hole in that bead. All right, let's try again. C note above. Where did I get the tool? Maybe you don't want one. Is there a hole you have to put it through to cut it? There's not. Yes, there is. Well, there's a hole there. There is a hole there. Let's see if I can see that. There is a little hole right along that side right there. So, all right. We're going to pay more attention then next time. See, that's the thing. They come with absolutely no instructions. It's one of those you just have to figure it out. So, let's see. So, there's these 2 little pieces here. So, I know that goes across the top. And I guess maybe I've been putting it in the hole, or sometimes maybe I didn't get it in the hole every time. Maybe that's the key. All right, so let's try it. And there, it did it that time too. It cut it. So I think we're figuring it out, right? But here again, look, this one didn't curl exactly right. So I don't know what the deal is. All right. So we're going to cut that one and we're going to do that one more time. So we've wasted 2 of our eye pins now. Is it worth it? Time will tell. Let's see. I think I just picked up the bead. All right, that one's going in the trash. I don't want to pick it up again. All right, let's get another one. It's camera shy. Yes, Heidi, sometimes it does take a village. And, instructions are nice. I'm an instruction reader. If it has instructions, I'm going to read them. So, anyway. Okay, so let's see. Let's hold everything. All right, it did it the right way that time. It was correct. All right, so let's kind of get it off of there. Okay, and let's tighten it just a tiny bit. And maybe these last 2 will be a little faster. All right, we've got 2 more to do. You saw it here first. Does this tool work? All right, so I'm putting it across the thing there. I'm putting it through the little hole on this side. All right, I'm pulling it up taut to that first little line there. And we got it. And it did right. Getting it off the thing is a little bit of a challenge, but not too bad. It's still faster than wrapping them myself. Because when you wrap them, there's so many different little steps to do. All right. Just making sure it's tight. One more. Welcome to Art Hangout, y'all. I am Vanessa Gale. I'm glad y'all could join me. We've had a great afternoon of art and lots of fun things. We've had jewelry making, and we've had paper, and we've had assemblage, and lots of fun things. So I'm glad you could join me, and I would say stay on the train, but I am the caboose tonight. If you don't follow me, I'd love for you to give me a follow. I'll be on the Art Hangout again next week. And I have kind of taken January off, sort of, from doing lives a lot as far as like selling. But I did want to participate tonight. But I'll be hitting the ground running. Probably going to be towards the end of February when I get back into doing more live sales. My husband and I are going to be going out of town. So it's going to be when I get back from that, and you'll see a little bit more of me. All right. Now, since we are going to use those as dangles, I'm going to load those onto one of these little eye pins. And what I have found in my experience, when you're using the loop at the bottom and you're going to put more beads on the top, if you know you're going to put a dangle on the bottom, if you'll go ahead and put the dangle on the bottom before you start loading your beads, it will be a little bit easier. Once you get that bead on there and it's tight, it's hard to get this little loop open the way you need to open it in order to put something else on it. So I like to load this first. All right, so I'm just going to grab this and I'm pulling it just slightly towards me just so that it's open. And I'm going to load 3 of these on here. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to close it back. And in order to close it, I'm just going to pull it right back the way that it came from. And then I'm going to make sure that it's nice and snug up next to the wire so that they cannot fall off. And y'all, my eyes have gotten bad. So Granny Vanessa, which I'm not a granny yet, but this makes me feel like one. Granny Vanessa bought her a magnifier here, y'all. I don't know if you can see through this, but this helps me to see that I've got this space nice and tight. And so I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of a tug and a little bit of a wiggle to get it right up next to that wire. And I feel like I need to even maybe kind of put my plier in here and pull it down a little because it's not sitting upright quite as much as I would like. And with these other little dangles in here, y'all, it kind of is making it hard. So we may have to do, Michelle, I've seen you do this too. You may have to just kind of grab it and give it a little pinch. But I'm sorry you can't see this very well. I am struggling to see it myself. All right, and then I'm going to give it a little shake and make sure that's not coming off. All right, move that out of the way. So we have our little dangles attached on the end, which is going to be our earring. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for this eye pin. I'm going to go ahead and open it, and we're going to load these real quick. Put 3 on here. 1, 2, 3. Welcome in, Miss Meow. So glad you could join me. I do have some earrings I'm going to auction towards the end. If you are an earring lover and you want to hang around. But I am the caboose tonight. I am the last man standing on the art train. All right. And again, these are, because these dangles are on here, it makes it a little bit difficult to kind of maneuver. All right. I feel like I got that one a little bit better, but I'm going to use my little magnifying glass here and my granny eyes and just look at it and make sure that none of those are going to come off. And I'm going to give them sort of a test pull. And they are not coming off. So we're good. All right, let's finish designing our earring. So we're doing like a pink kind of Valentine's Day sort of theme. And we're going to use these big ceramic beads. And because they have a very big opening, we were going to have to either put something at the base because the head pin would slide right through, or we're going to be using these loops. And I opted to use these loops so that we could put a little dangle down there. So that is how we're going to load this earring. And then I like the black and pink, so I'm going to put one of these black chunky natural stone or glass. I'm not really sure what these beads are made of. Put one of those on there. And then we're going to go in with one of these leopard jasper earrings at the top that like to hide their holes. Okay. And there is, I'm looking at that and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I love that or not. I'm not sure that I like the really squared looking bead on there. What do you guys think? Do you like that, or should we try something, another kind of black? Or maybe a smaller one. Let's just swap that one out real quick and go for a thinner one. Maybe it's just that one was too thick. Let's see. Let's go with this one. And let's try. All right. So what do you think? Do you like the, I think I like the smaller one a little bit better. Yes. You need a granny magnifying. Yes. That is something that came from the Zon. It does have a battery compartment and has LED lights. I've not put a battery in it yet. And it will sit on its own. You can adjust the height. And it's a neat little thing. So I've had to get me one of those. All right, so we're going to wrap this one. And I will show you that wrapping process. We could use this, but because most of the weight of the earring is going to be on this loop, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it because I feel like a wrap is a little bit more secure. I think it works fine for the dangles. So in order to wrap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just a little bit above that bead. So you see where my pliers are, just a little higher than that bead. And then I'm going to take another pair of pliers and grip the end. And then we're just going to go down and around a couple times, pulling it tight, and then I pull it back towards me just a little bit. And then we're going to snip off the excess wire, and I'll show you what it looks like up close. All right. Let's see if we can get that up close for you. All right, so you see how that looks? Now you can see right there, there's just a little tiny bit of this wire where I trimmed it that's kind of sticking out a little bit. I always sort of take my finger and rub across that and make sure that it's not terribly sharp and it's not sticking out too much, and make sure that I trim it off a little bit further if I can. And that one feels like I might could trim that one a little bit more. So, and I need to get me a new set of wire cutters because mine have gotten kind of dull. And now I don't even feel that sticking out. So, and we will load that on an ear wire in just a moment. So let's go ahead and load up our other earring. It is 7:30. We're 30 minutes in. We've got about 30 more minutes. So we're going to find kind of a smaller. Let's see if this one works. That one's not going to work. That hole on that one is all sideways. Look, you see how that one is like really sideways? That's not what I want. That one was too thick. Let's try this one. And again, because these are going to be a pair, we want them to be similar. So I'm kind of holding them up to make sure that they're going to be similar enough. And I think that's going to be fun. And then we've got this little topper bead here, this little leopard bead. Looking for that hole in there, y'all. My gosh. Okay, there we are. All right, and now we're going to wrap it. We're going to hold it just a little bit above the bead there. And there's more than one way to do this, but this is how it works for me. So let's get that way. And then I always kind of pull it back towards me just a little bit. You can see our little loop there, and you see that long excess there. And so we're going to trim that off. Welcome in, everybody. Angela, Procrastinator, I enjoyed your show, Procrastinator. Ruby, welcome in. Kim, welcome in. I'm Vanessa, collecting cousins, and I love to do the art hangout trains. Today we're making earrings. You never know what we'll do. I may play with clay, I may do watercolor, I may do lots of different things, but all right. So I have, these are not sterling silver, but they are supposed to be lead-free little ear wires. If you, that one is, look at that one. That one is funky. Do you see something? There's something wrong with that one. The little spring or something is messed up. So that one's going in the trash. I have to have sterling silver or gold. So, I understand that, these might not work out for a lot of people, but it is very easy to get some of these in sterling and to open that just like that and just swap the ear wires out if that is something that you need to do. And I have considered making an option when ordering in whether or not you would want sterling silver wires, because I would need to charge a little bit more for those just because the cost of sterling has gone up. So I'm going to get my trusty little magnifier out here again, y'all. And I'm going to look and see if that is closed, because we do not want that charm coming off there. And I feel like it's not quite closed enough, so I'm going to work that a little bit closer. All right. Now I'm happy with that. So let me just show you what I was looking at. We want to make sure that we get that earring loop closed back so that it's not going to slide off. All right, I'm just going to leave that here for just a second while we do this one, because I'll need it again. And to open these, you don't want to ever pull out like this. when you're opening loops on jewelry, you want to pull towards you or away from you to open it, because you can break them if you're not careful. And it's better to pull towards you than pull and push towards you and away from you than to pull outwards. And so then you just kind of push that back in. And then again, because my eyes, I'm going to check it under my magnifier and make sure. Okay, I feel like that's almost as good as it needs to be. I'm going to push it just a little bit more. All right. So we have this lovely little pair of earrings that we've just made. So let's kind of look at them. All right. So we're on silver tone hardware findings. We've got little leopard jasper beads at the base. And you've been doing it backwards. And then we've got the ceramic and the black and another little jasper. So those are going to dangle probably about 1.5 inches, if I'm guessing. But I may just go ahead and run those. If there's any interest, anybody want me to run those, I'll run those for $7. So let's just do it instead of talking about it. They say, let's see, what in the world? Okay. It's been a hot minute since I've done this, y'all. So we've moved it to stage, and so we're just going to, these as shown, and those are running now starting at 7. There we go. If you touch it, you run it. Exactly, Heidi. Exactly. So those are running. No worries. I'll be adding those into my store over the next few days. All right, so let's make something different. We've got still a little bit of time here. Let's do something with some pearls. I like pearls too. These are a stone bead, and I don't know what kind of stone these are, but they are some kind of quartz, probably, most likely some kind of quartz. And I really like this kind of a magenta pink. Some of them are lighter pink, and some of them are darker pink. So I'm getting a couple different ones out. And these are not expensive beads, but they are stone. So I want to do something with those. And I meant to mention my little trays. If you make jewelry, a lot of times you're looking for, I don't, Heidi. I do not. I used to teach elementary school, though, and I was a school counselor. So I've got the teacher in me. So, but I don't teach jewelry classes. I would love to. I kind of do that on our Hangout. So, I found these, y'all, at the Dollar Tree. So they came in a little. Let me just show you. In these little packets like this, over like where the plates and everything are, and they are like for you to put little desserts in or serve your nuts or whatever. And they're just hard acrylic, and these work so well, especially like if I'm cutting a necklace apart and I want to put the beads in there, and I know that I'm going to dump them in a bag. These little corners make it really nice to dump the beads in a little baggie. So these have been a nice little thing that I've found to use. So I've got some kind of this dark colored pearls, and I've got some of these lighter, like almost potato looking pearls. And so I'm wondering if we did a combination of these. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to throw a couple of these in here, and we'll throw a couple of these in here, and then we'll just see what we can figure out. And I do have like regular ones too, like just the white, but I like the gray with the pink. All right, so let's try to see if we can load these on these. All right, so these little pearls are kind of they're sort of flat on one side and curved on the other. So I like to put the curved side down and then put the flat side, because this bead is flat. I'm going to put that flat. So I kind of like how that looks so far. Thanks, Heidi. Welcome in, Galloping Ghost and Debbie Joe. So glad you could join me. We're making a couple pairs of earrings tonight. And then I wonder if these little silvery ones, these are going to be sideways, so these may not work out. So those are, you see the flat side on these. I mean, it looks pretty, but it's flat on one side, so I don't like that. So I'm not real pleased with how that's going to look. Maybe we just need to do a pearl on the top and a pearl on the bottom, and keep it sort of simple. That's just a simple little design. What do y'all think about that? Any thoughts? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Need something else? Pretty like it is? Real simple? I think it's okay. All right, we're going to go with it. All right, so again, because these are going to be at the top close to the earring, I'm going to wrap. You like it. Thank you, Sunshiny. I appreciate that. All right, so again, I'll grab a little bit above the bead here. And y'all, I'm going to show you another technique for this. You can take your, you can grab it right down next to the bead and pull at a 90-degree angle out this way. See how I've just done that? You can do that, and then grab it again up here, and then wrap around this way. And then do your little wrap. But I have trouble getting my loops to look right when I do it this way. So it makes a bigger loop, which is fine. My loop tends to be a little sideways, and I have to straighten them. But there is more than one way to skin a cat, so you can do them that way. And since I did that one that way, I'm going to do the next one the same way, just so they're kind of consistent. And then we'll trim off that little excess. So we're using the little rounded, I kind of like peacock. These have a little bit of an iridescent look, little freshwater pearl beads, and a little pink stone bead. And then we're going to put another one of these on the top. And this time I'm putting the flat side down. And then there's something about that bead that I don't like. It's a little rough around the edges, so let me try this other one. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. So let's see. We did it the other way this time. So I'm going to pull it, and we're going to make that little angle there, and then we're going to pinch right on top of that, and then we're going to wrap and go around. And that gives us just a little bit of a bigger loop, and the wrap is a little bit more loose. Whoop, and those fly away. They fly. When you cut these little wires, be careful, because they'll jump on you. All right, so let me let you see those two little loops. See those? So they're a little bit bigger, opening-wise, than the ones that I made for this other pair of earrings. And let me just let you see. You see that loop and that loop. They're a little different. They're a little bit different. So there's lots of ways to do it. Just figure out what works best for you and make something. Just make something, y'all. All right. So now we're going to get our little ear wires. And again, these are just base metal, but they are lead free. And we're going to pull that towards us. Going to loop that on. And we're going to push it back. Make sure it's good and closed. And that one looks like it's closed. So there's our little earring there. Okay. And let's do this other one. We're going to open it. Put that on there. Push it back. And the fun part, y'all, the fun part is designing it. Going through the beads, picking colors, figuring out what looks good. So these are going to be a little bit shorter. I'm going to guess these probably are going to hang about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter. And again, we've got natural stone pink. They probably are dyed stone. Thank you so much, Michelle. And then we've got these little freshwater pearls that are kind of iridescent, but they're like a dark blackish gray iridescent. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to duplicate that last thing. And I'm going to auction those off if anybody's interested. If not, no worries. Those are running. I appreciate everybody coming in. Thank y'all. I know there's so many other places that y'all could be hanging out tonight, but I appreciate that you are with me. All right, thanks for taking a look at those. Now these, I kind of thought we might do these tonight because they're kind of Valentine's Day too, but I don't know if we're going to have time to finish these. So we may, well, let's just see what we can do. So these are little charms that are made out of air dry clay. So back when I first started working with air dry clay, charms was one of the things I wanted to do. And so I used a little rose earring to make this rose imprint in the clay. And then after the clay dried, I painted it, and then I gave it a shiny glossy coat. And you can see on the back, and I did initial them. The backs are not very pretty, but my initials are on there because I did make these charms. So, and when you're working with charms and you're doing earrings, you have to make sure that the logistics work out. So these pink beads kind of look like they would look nice with the color, which is kind of a pearlized sort of focus. There you go. So I think these beads would be a nice little accent. So kind of what I'm thinking on these. Thank you, y'all. And there's a little bit of glitter too. I don't know if it shows. Maybe you can see right there. I did use like a little bit of a glittery paint over the top too, just to give it a little more shine. So I think what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to use my eye pins and dangle the charm off the base of the eye pin. All right. So again, these are the eye pins that have the little loop. They have an eye at the bottom. And then we're going to open it. Because the tip I gave you earlier is when you're using eye pins, if you're going to dangle something off the bottom, it's easier to go ahead and put that on before you load all the beads on the top part, just because having those other beads on there make it a little bit harder to get that eye pin open and closed sometimes. If your bead is sitting right up next to it, it's hard to get it open. Or it's even harder to get it closed than it is to get it open. All right, so we just push and pull, make sure those are back, and I think that's good. Again, my old eyes, but oh, and see there, I did the test and it came off, so we need to tighten it a little bit better. So let me get my trusty little magnifier over here and see what's happening. All right. Sometimes you may need to grab it and pull it the other direction, but if you can avoid that. And sometimes too, if you just open it again, and then when you're closing it, give it a little extra cinch in, that will work. All right, we got it. We got it. It needs to go down just a little. Okay. All right, so we have our charms, our little air dry clay charms hanging on the bottom, and we need to decide what we want up here on the top. And I wonder, maybe we could go in with one of these pink beads again, these big ceramic ones. Is that going to be, I think that gives a nice little amount of balance. And should we do one of these? Maybe. I kind of like that. What y'all think? Got a little bit of the baby pink and a little bit of the pinky purple color. And then maybe, let's see if how one of these pearls would look on the top. So these are like the black ones that I used a moment ago. They're sort of flat-sided, so I'm putting the flat side down. All right. What do we think? I think it's all right. You don't think it's okay? All right, we're going to go with it. We're getting close to time to be doing some other things. Now, I said we're going to go with it, but we have to talk for a second. Thanks, Amanda. All right, so you have to think about logistics sometimes when you're making earrings. Thank you, Pink Ribbons. So let's talk logistics. So right now, because we have a charm, we didn't have to worry about this with the other earrings that we just made because we didn't have charms. And this charm needs to hang this direction. Like when you have it in your ear, it needs to hang like that. So we have to think about how our earring is going to go together. So let me get my ear wire. All right, my ear wire has to go in your ear this direction, right? And so we are going to need to have a loop up at the top up here that we can hook. And so the loop up here is going to need to go the same way this loop goes from side to side. This one goes front to back. This one's going side to side. That is going front to back. we need to make our loop up here at the top go side to side. So it's going to be the opposite of what this one is. So now that I'm going to wrap it, I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to kind of make sure that this down here is lined up. And so I'm going to grab it here because I want my wrap to go this way because it needs to be opposite of that. So I'm going to grab it and I'm just going to wrap this the way I was doing the wraps before. Down and around a couple times. Pull it back. Check that loop. Go ahead and snip this off. All right. So let's look. So now we can see that I've got this one down here that bead is kind of covering a little bit is going front to back, and this one is, what is this one doing? Is it going side to side? Is it not going to side to side? Did I do it wrong? Well, let me see. How did I do that wrong? I thought I turned it the right way. Maybe it's just a little bit crooked. So let's see if we can make it go the way we want it to go. We're just going to give it a little twist. All right. I think that did it. So let's just throw it together and see what happens. All right, here we go, y'all. And then also, when you're using a charm, you have to think about which way you're loading it on the earring itself. Because again, the earring wire goes in your ear one way, and you need to make sure. All right. So it hangs in the ear this way right here, like that. And we want everything to hang and dangle so that when it's hanging, that's how it's going to be. And we've got it. So we did have to make a little bit of an adjustment up there, but we got it. So let's take care of the other one. Let's get the other one done. So we're down to about 9 minutes. I appreciate everybody coming in. So first we're going to, you know what? I think I had that on there and it came off, didn't it? So let's get the magnifier. I have gotten to where I have started checking everything. Every time I have to close these loops, I have started checking and double checking, like even before I ship them. If it's some that I made a while back, I put them under this magnifier and try to check them because I don't want the charms falling off. All right. I think we're good. We are good. Okay. So let's put this one. Let's get the pink bead. And then we did one of these other pink beads. And then we did a white pearl, which I laid one out. Let's make sure we're getting the flatter side down. All right, got those loaded up. Now there's something funky about this bead. Y'all, I'm kind of a perfectionist, but not always. Do you see this little flaw in this bead right here? That's going to drive me nuts. It's a little rough spot. Again, this is a ceramic bead. So I'm just going to throw that bead away because I don't want it to end up on any of my stuff with a flaw in it like that. All right, so we're going to load again. This one doesn't have any visible flaws. I didn't notice that when I loaded it before. All right, now, so we did our logistics earlier, and I turned it this way and wrapped it that way, and I don't think that was right. So maybe I need to leave it this way. But if I leave it this way, we'll figure it out. Logistics. We'll make it work. Down and around. All right, pull it back towards me just a bit. Sometimes you have to straighten them. Trim off the extra wire. All right, now let's get ready to hang on the loop, and let's see if it's going to hang. All right, yep, I still think maybe I just need to twist that just a tiny bit. Okay, let's get our ear wire. Opening up our ear wire here. Pull it towards me, just enough to get that loop on there. Make sure you're thinking about which direction that charm is hanging. All right. And then we're going to close it up. All right. Check it under my magnifying glass. Looks good. All right. So we have this pair of earrings. Okay. So we've just made these, and these have the air dry clay charms that I made and painted. And so these are going to hang a little bit longer. I'm going to guess probably about 2.5 inches. They're a little bit longer. So I'm going to duplicate that other listing, and then we're going to run that. So those are running now if anybody is interested. Silver tone findings, ceramic, stone, and pearl, and handmade charms. All right, thank y'all for looking at those. We've got about 6 minutes. So I'm going to pull some other earrings that I have made, put some of these beads back where they go, get these findings that are trash in the trash, and I'm going to raise you up just a little bit. Push some of this stuff out of the way, I put some of my earrings in this little jewelry box. These are some of the ones that I've made most recently. So I thought I would share some of these, and we'll run auctions on these if anybody's interested. We'll see. We've only got about 5 minutes. So if you're looking down here and you see something you want to see closer, let me know. But first I'm going to run these that I showed a little earlier. These are just like a black, I think it's stone, it's possibly glass, with the little leopard jasper dangling off. These are stainless steel ear wires. They're a little bit different. They're kind of a newer design of ear wire. But that is that pair. So I'm going to run those. If you're interested in those are running now. So those are, I love the little dangles on those, just the black. All right, I got these green beads at the bottom from somebody here on Knickknacks that was selling beads. And Alina, I know it wasn't you, because I got these before you got your bead buyout. But I've also been thinking about St. Patrick's Day coming up. So these are like a metal with enamel on them, and they're vintage beads. Yeah, it wasn't you. And then I've used the freshwater pearl and like the cat's eye glass. So just thinking towards St. Patrick's Day coming in March, I'm going to run those now. If anybody's interested, they're kind of an Asian, and they're sort of a puff design there. All right, thank y'all so much for looking at those. I appreciate it. No, I didn't even start it. What in the world? I knew I started it. Y'all, it's getting late for me. All right. Thank you, Silver. Some others I made recently, the Evil Eye. Harvested these beads from a bracelet that was stretchy. And so I'm just going to show a few pairs. We're running down to about 3 minutes. If anybody sees anything as I'm showing these that you want me to run, I'd be happy to do that. Otherwise, we'll just show and tell. How's that? These are stone beads. They're kind of a tube bead. Silver, I may have gotten those from you, but I'm not 100% sure. I know I got several beads from you, and those are some new ones. So those I think maybe did come from you. But those are just a little dangle with the 3 different beads on there. These have a cat's eye at the bottom, tiger's eye, I'm sorry, along with a couple other little stone and glass pieces. I do have a few of these that are similar to what we made tonight, but a little bit different with some of those same beads. So, and y'all, I want to share these. I've got a couple different styles of these the little cherries hanging, but I got to show y'all this. The last thrifting trip I went on was it's a few weeks back, and I found these vintage plastic leaves and vintage plastic cherries. And I saved the card at the top and put it in the baggie because I wanted to remember the brand. But that's from Omaha, Nebraska, that store. So I bought those in a thrift store, and I have made a few earrings that are going to have the little plastic vintage cherries and leaves on them. So I've got them with a black, and I did some with like the clear quartz beads, and then I did some with these glass spiral looking beads. So there's that. So anyway, but I enjoy jewelry. I enjoy earrings. Earrings are short, quick projects that do not take a lot of time. If you are into Valentine's Day and into something that's not the traditional Valentine's Day, but you like hearts, I have a few in my shop that are different colors. So here's a bright yellow heart with some multicolors at the top. So you might want to go in and take a look. Some of those are loaded in the shop right now. But if you, I sold a pair of green ones earlier this week that were the green puffy hearts. So, not everybody loves Valentine's Day, and not everything has to be pink and red. But anyway, we've had fun. We've had fun, right? Let me show one other style that I have for Valentine's Day also. These are in the shop too. These are just little metal enamel coated little hearts, and I've just hung them all together there, so those just kind of dangle and spin around. And so I've got those in several different colors too, if those interest anybody. I haven't listed these yet, but these are like the long, they're not threader earrings, but they're the long like dusters, and they're just gold tone chain with a little heart at the end that's going to kind of spin around and hang different ways, and I'll get those listed eventually. All right. Well, what did we do? We talked about artist trading cards, and I showed you how I cover them, and I talked to you about my next series. It's going to be a love series, and then we also looked at my tree that we resined last time we were together. So you haven't seen it since the resin cured, so we took a look at that, and we made a couple pairs of earrings, some with clay charm on the bottom, some with just little stone and freshwater pearls, and then we did our little leopard inspired leopard print leopard jasper with the pink and black. So we made those 3 pairs tonight. So we had a fun time. Let me turn you around. All right. Well, as I said, I'm the caboose. It's 8:01. I think I'm going to be done for the evening. I appreciate everybody joining. Thank you, Silver. Thank you, Heidi. Keep working on your little devil thing, because that is so cute. So cute. And I have one too. Let me show you mine. Here's mine. And he sits in my window and dances. But your eyes move on yours. I really liked him. He was cute. So we've had a fun time. I appreciate everybody being with me. Amanda, thank you for all you do to keep us on track and getting us signed up and all the things. I appreciate you so much. Knickknacks is a wonderful place, and a shout out to Christina and Jocelyn also for giving us makers a place to feel appreciated and seen, and for us to find each other, because it's as much about finding other artists and makers that we recognize we're not the only weird ones in the world. Because when you're a maker and you're an artist, you're a little weird, right? So thank y'all so very much for being with me. If you haven't followed me, if you'll do that real quick, if you were interested in anything you saw and you don't see it listed in the next day or two, message me about it and I'll get on it a little bit faster. But we are expecting bad weather here in the northwest corner of Alabama, and I don't know if I'll have power for a few days, so it may take me a little while to get some things listed from tonight. But thanks. Y'all are awesome. Besitos, as Lupe would say. And let me just see who we can rate to. I'm going to turn you back around while I look at that. If there's anybody that is on and doing something. Let's see what we've got. We've got several jewelry things going right now. So